Parshas Vayikra starts our very, very extensive Sefer Vayikra of Karbanos, and we start off with the first Parshas Vayikra al Moshe, a special Mikra. And before I even start, I always like to point out when we get to Vayikra, as interesting and from our vantage point complicated, the Karbanos are, and to many of us, particularly people who are not well versed in both halacha and or hashkafa, Sefer Vayikra seems not to be that relevant. And not only in spite of that, but specifically for that, Rav Shamshon Fro Hirsch devotes 6 halakim of Svarim to Chamisha Chumshei Torah, and the one that has double Sefer is Sefer Vayikra. I always make that point. Something that we have to learn, that each and every prat that we have in the Sefer Vayikra has a world of learning to teach us, a world of Torah. So the Pasuk says in Pasuk Beis, Daber al bnei Yisrael v'marto alehem, Adam ki yakriv mikem korban lashem. So why does the word Adam come in there? Rashi on the spot says, Ma Adam harishon lohikriv min hagezel. So therefore, you're not allowed to take a animal, steal it, and make a korban out of it. It has to be yours. The Sefer Apirion, which I've quoted a number of times here, from Rav Shlomo Gansfried, Zatzal, a giant of a Goyen, says, I have a different derech I'd like to add. He says, he doesn't argue with Rashi, he says, Oitam, another reason. Why do we need the word Adam? Now, the fact of the matter is, if you look at the Pasuk, the word Adam is extra. That's what hits Rashi, and what hit him as well. What is the word Adam coming to tell us more than we would have had without the word Adam? It's a very, very fascinating insight involving a lot of gematrias, involving a lot of deep mathematical concepts. I'm going to try to do justice to it, and if I don't do justice to it, it's not the Apirio's fault, it's my fault. However, we'll give it our best shot at it. Okay. He quotes a sefer, which I've never heard of, which is nothing unusual. It's called Shefa Tal, the bounty of dew. Okay, and he brings it down in the name of Mikubalim. So right away you know there's Kabbalah here going on here, so it's not a simple Pashat Tzach. Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, is epitomized. We can understand the HaKadosh Baruch Hu through his maisim and through his mitzvahs. That's the first concept we're saying here. The name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu consists of Ramach mitzvahs aseh u'shesa lo aseh. We know that there's 613 mitzvahs, 365 and 248. What is the remes for that? He brings down Zeh Shmi L'Olam v'Zeh Zichri L'Dar Dar. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells that to Moshe Rabbeinu. This is my name and my remembrance, my memory, memorial better. Okay? If you take the first half of Shmi and the first half of Kodesh Baruch Hu's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei, Yud Kei, it comes out to Shin Samach Hei, which is the Loisa says. Shmi Shin Mem Yud is 350, and Yud Kei is another 15 is 365. Indeed, is correct. So Shmi, with the half of Yud Kei Vav Kei, is 365. All right? And Zichri, and the other name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the other half, which is Vav Kei, so let's go that. Zichri is 237. And Vav Kei, which is 11, comes out to 248. Very good. The math works out correctly. So if you do that math, so that the two aspects of the mitzvahs that we do, the Lois Aseis and Aseis, together with this pasuk of Zeh Shmi v'Zeh Zichri, comes out to Kodesh Baruch Hu's name. Now, all of the neshamos from the beginning of time until Mashiach comes, all the neshamos of Klal Yisrael's nation are a chelek elakam imal. We know that. We all come from Kodesh Baruch Hu's etzem atzmios, from Kodesh Baruch Hu himself. As the pasuk says, Ki chelek Hashem amo. Okay? That chelek, that portion of Hashem, that is our neshamos. Now, another principle he brings down here, which is an interesting thought, if you have a portion of something, which is, he uses the word chelik, which means a portion, but I'm going to be a little bit liberal and use that word and translate it as sample. So if you have a sample of some particular item, it's exactly the same as that item. So that portion of the item, that sample of the item, is exactly the same as the item itself. I'll say it in Hebrew. HaChelek hanechlak me'ezeh dover hu shaveh v'doime be'eino, in a person's eye, in our perception, there's absolutely no difference between a chelek and the actual item itself. Okay? So Kadosh Baruch Hu, we are a chelek Hashem. We are a portion of Hashem, so we are exactly doime to Kadosh Baruch Hu. What is that part of us? That is the inner oil, the inner light that comes in our neshama, which is infinite. It has no gashmis to it whatsoever. The neshama is a chelek ve'lakami mal. It's a spark of a Kadosh Baruch Hu that Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us as a schus, as part of Himself. So that's considered, that part of our neshama is considered that taryag. Okay? Now listen to this. There are many times that we daven, I specifically remember this, because we say this many times in many yosres, but specifically we say it by tashlich. And we have the word, in my machzor, he only puts it down as an abbreviation, but in the big machzor on your scroll, he has the three words, nefesh, ruach, neshama. Nefesh, ruach, neshama. That's a velt, tremendous velt of Torah on these three parts of our corporeal and spiritual existence. Nefesh, ruach, and neshama. Okay? Which part is nefesh, which part is neshama, which part is ruach, connecting to Kadosh Baruch Hu. The Beis Halevi has tremendous on this. However, let's stop for 1 second and hear what he has to say. And you have to listen to this. He says the Rosh Tevos and the Sof Tevos of the three words, which I never knew this, nefesh, ruach, and neshama, add up to taryag. I did the math. Nefesh, ruach, neshama. Nun, Reish, Nun, which is the first three letters, and Shin, Ches, Hey. Do the math. You can take my word for it, but you don't have to believe me. Add it up, comes out to Taryag. So, this Taryag of our spiritual being, and physical being for that matter, okay, are part of the Ramach and the Shesah, are part of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. What is it? All of our physical being, okay, is only a levush of the guf of the Adam for the neshama, which comes out from Taryag. And all of these together make up a person's human being. A person's innermost being, which is the neshama, and that's called Adam, and that's what Adam is an ikar, that it becomes from a Kadosh Baruch Hu through the incorporation of the Taryag mitzvos. The Evarim, the Gidim, all of the parts of our body that are visible to us, that are the apparent guf of a person, he calls it a schach, is a covering that covers over a person's personality and a person's actual essence, person's essence. Okay? The Pasuk says, Pasuk in Iyov, or ubasar talbisheni uvatzomos v'gidim teserchacheni. He uses the word schach there too. So the pasuk comes from Iyov. He didn't make it up. Okay. He repeats it again. The neshama, which is called Adam, is part of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, chelik elakami mal. And that's called Adam. That's where the word Adam comes from. The real man is a person who is able to fulfill to his greatest ability all of the Taryag mitzvos. And that is the Adam HaTachtoin connecting to the Adam HaElyon. The word Adam represents our pnimius. It represents man's highest ideals. And that is to say, if a person gets away from his Gashmius and realizes that the Gashmius is only a covering for his innermost neshama, it's the neshama that's doing the mitzvahs, the neshama that's doing what the return Hashem is. When it says Adam ki yakrav mikem, it means you are showing what an Adam really is. Well, you're not just a person with desires. You're not just a person with needs. You're not a person who has to eat. It's the famous saying, do you eat to live or do you live to eat? We're not eating. We're not living to eat. We're not living to do whatever makes our hana. We're not living to do whatever we have to get through the toil of the day. We're not living to have a nice house and a car. We are living to fulfill the tafkid of our pnimius. Our pnimius is Adam. Adam is the highest form of recognition of a person's innermost being. It's higher than any other form of expression of man. We know Adam, Enosh, many different words. When we say the word Adam, it means we're translating what HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us into Hashem's Ratzon. That's what Adam means. Now, in Pasuk Gimel of our Parsha, he has another difficult word. In Moila Karbonim in Habakar Zachar Tamim Yakrivenu, El Pesach El Moy Yakriv Oisai Lirtzainai Lifnei Hashem. Lirtzainai is the difficult word over there. What does that mean? When a person is bringing a karban, it has to be Lirtzainai. He has to be wanting to do it. If he wasn't wanting to do it, why is he bringing it? Okay? So he brings down a very famous rule which we have, that there's a certain mitzvah that a person has to do, that's mechuyev to do it, and he doesn't want to do it. We have a famous rule, that's kosher. How does that work? If you're swinging him and blackmailing him and you're beating him until he says Reitza Ani, how can you possibly say that's Ritzainai? Brought down by all the Meforshim, it's brought down by Rav Shamshon Fol Hirsch, brought down by the period, and I learned it first by the Beis Halevi, because that's a sefer that I learned when I was younger, that when a person wants to do a mitzvah, he really wants to do a mitzvah. What happens? The Yetzer Hara gets in the way, the Sa'ar Shebe'isa. For whatever reason it could be, his own desires, his own other very irrelevant needs and wants, say, no, don't do it. So he keeps, the Yetzer Hara tells him, don't do it. But what is the aspect of the person? The aspect of the person is he really wants to do it. So we say, okay? So that's what the word Ritzoinoi means. I am going to take the liberty of taking what from the appearance. What he's saying is that when we bring a karban, we are demonstrating that it's our ratzon to do, it's our warning, our greatest desire to do the Ratzon Hashem. What is a karban? A karban is a representation of our innermost feelings, our innermost desires, our innermost essence. A person is what he does. A person is what he wants. A person is what he, especially in our context, a person is what when he's doing the Ratzon Hashem. What the pasuk is telling you here is, if you want to express your avodah, you want to express your Ratzon to do the Ratzon Hashem, that is given to us in the Torah as an expression, as a karban. A karban is a reflection of the person. It's not just bringing an animal to the Beis HaMikdash. This is your essence. You are showing what you want to do. And if in fact that is if that's what you want to do, and you do it, you are fulfilling your tafkid in this world. It's a very, very profound thought, hidden in these psukim, but brought out to us by our major Mefarshim. If we want to do the right thing, follow the Torah, and you will be able to be fulfilling your tafkid in the world. Get Shabbos.